Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have 8 simple rules for dating my teenage daughter. This is just known, however, as just 8 simple rules on Disney Plus. I think the series title got shortened after a number of things happened, and the show, I guess, transformed a bit. They this oh, by the way, I'll get to that in a minute, but there is a lot to actually talk about in this one. I don't know how deep I'm going to go into it, but this is a pretty good cast. It's like a great cast. This is John Ritter as in the lead as the dad, along with Katie Seagal from Married with Children, eventually Futurama, and also Sons of Anarchy in a very different role, all very different roles. She's been in a bunch of different things since, obviously, but yeah, that's just the mom and dad. And then we get a very young teenage Kaylee Cuoco, which you might know from Big Bang Theory, and also the voice of Harley Quinn of her own animated series on HBO Max. So yeah, that's I mean, and there's also, let's see, Amy Davidson and Martin Spangers. I recognize them from things, but I can't think of them offhand. But yeah, this show. Uh, I think had a really good following. It has it got good ratings, I believe, and it was well received. I remember hearing good things about it, but I just never watched. Even though I love John Ritter and Katie Seagal, I had no idea who Kaylee was at the time. But John Ritter used to be in a show called Three's Company in the '70s, and he taught me how to fall down. Yeah, he played Jack Tripper, an appropriately named character, a man who lived with 2 women in a Southern California apartment complex, and in order to live there, he had to pretend to be gay. Because the '70s in California, apparently men could not live with women. So, yeah, inappropriate comedy. Stuff that just couldn't be made now. But he did a lot of slapstick, a lot of pratfalls, and man, when I was a kid, I learned how to fall down like a champ thanks to him. Anyway. And Katie Seagal made me fall in love with one-eyed alien women. Or sewer women. Yeah. So, anyway, spoilers on Futurama, by the way. uh, so yeah, this is from its very laborious original title, 8 Simple Reasons for My Teenage Daughter, and for dating my teenage daughter. Now, the thing is, I only watched 2 episodes, so I don't know what those 8 simple rules are. I don't know if they ever get into them. But let's just say they really take advantage of. This is a really difficult way to put this. Exhibiting Kaylee's lithe teenage body in the first episode. Yeah. She is a teenage girl, obviously. Skinny as all get out. And she's got her underwear sticking out. And that's part of the comedy that's involved in this, because Dad is like, no, you can't dress like that. Don't you dare go out like that. And she's just a wild child, and she's a little bit. She gets around. Whereas her sister is just the opposite, and she's a little bit closed off, and boys don't like her, apparently, in her mind. And so Dad is the pilot episode is him sort of balancing his response to each, and both are fairly bad. And I think not in a comedic way either, like just generally bad dealing with this. Because even, as he's like telling Kaylee's character, who is, by the way, Bridget, she's telling her to cover up and not show off her thong underwear. There's like a long conversation about thongs. And, and there's, yes, I think there's a live studio audience, by the way, or laugh track. I'm not sure. I can't tell in this case, but laugh tracks are born out of audience responses. But yeah, whatever. It recorded. Anyway, where he's just very handles that very badly. What's worse is that when his daughter, his other daughter, the redhead, who is absolutely beautiful in her own way, but doesn't flaunt it like her sister, he tells her, "Well, why don't you show off that body?" And I'm just like, and I realize it's meant to be inappropriate humor to a certain degree, but it's also pretty much a lesson learned at the end of the half hour family comedy where hugs usually resolve the issue. And again, it's the pilot, so it's sort of testing the waters in a sense and just saying they haven't found necessarily their footing yet. It's not. I don't know if they even had a deal at the time this thing was shot. This might have been the original pilot. I mean, sometimes they reshoot them, but still, when they get picked up. But still, I mean, there's another point where what's his name? Why can't I? What they bury him in this? Paul, who's Jack. I almost said Jack. John Ritter. He goes to work at a newspaper, and he bumps into his buddy, played by Larry Miller, who's always hilarious. He's seen him in The Princess Diaries. Yes, he's like a colleague at the paper, and when Jack mentions his daughter, he's like, "What, the hot one?" I'm like, "What?" It's like, yes, I get the comedy, I get the purpose of the comedy, but yeah, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, the hot one, definitely the hot one, but who talks to their colleague about their teenage daughter in that manner and admits to such things? It's just, yeah, these days you'd probably get a punch in the face if you talked about somebody's teenage daughter that way, but funny in 2002. Yes, by the way, it started in 2002 and went for only 2 seasons, and there's a reason for that. And there's probably also a reason for its popularity to a certain degree. Is I hate to say it that way. It got its notoriety. Is the fact that John Ritter died while filming this, not during filming, but after doing 3 episodes into season 2. He collapsed and he died soon after. So, after a long hiatus, they finished off season 2, and it was their last, but they finished off with a 2-part episode called Goodbye that dealt with the loss of the dad in the family. And there was no laugh track in that one, from what I understand. I only watched 2 episodes, so I was going to just watch one, but I had to figure out if this was going to be a recurring theme with sexualizing the daughters. I mean, I realized the main point of the original title of the show was dad being defensive of his daughters, and other points not doing a very good job of it in a non-funny way. I mean, John Ritter is hilarious to me, and he's greatly missed. But he didn't write the character, so it's just, I don't know. Either way, so Katie Sagal, of course, I mean, she's the two-hander parents in this. She's got to move on, and it's sure it's still a comedy, absolutely, but I bet that Goodbye episode has a lot more drama and hugs in it than most others. And later on, they bring in David Spade and James Garner. James Garner, and a few other different actors, just sort of to fill out the cast to create the comedy. And yeah, it's I can see here that things. I think it was probably difficult continuing on after the loss of John Ritter in that sense. So yeah, if you want to see something that is an anomaly, it's an ABC. This is an ABC network television show from what I remember. It's not like it's FX or some Always Sunny in Philadelphia level comedy where when you're going into it, they're gonna say the characters are just reprehensible, like everybody on Sunny. They're funny, but they're reprehensible people who are gonna do and say and choose horrible things. And this is ostensibly your average American family with a dad who's protective and doesn't want the worst for his kids. Speaking of which, I never even mentioned the son, because the son spends the first episode perving on his sisters, or at least his hot one. So, like, at one point, she finds out that he has been in her underwear drawer, and he admits to it right away because he was showing his friends. So, and then later on, when Dad is going to talk to the redheaded daughter who doesn't feel comfortable about her body or dating or whatever else, the older sister, he gets the Katie Cuoco out of the room, Kaylee Cuoco out of the room, and before he starts talking to the other sister, he turns around and goes to the closet, opens the door to find the son in there eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Presumably to watch something, and the sisters don't bat an eye. I don't know. There's some pretty freaky fan fiction going on here. Somewhere on the internet that involves these people. I'm just telling you right now, that's just the way it probably is. I did not check. I did not. So, all I know is that it's a funny show, and I love the cast. The cast is absolutely great. Not a huge big fan of what sounds like a laugh track, but that was the way it was in that era and that time. And you get to see if you love her in Big Bang Theory, you get to see her early work well, Penny was always seen as a bit wild, when she met and hung out with the nerds. So her sexuality was always a joke there. So her sexuality in here as a child is also a joke, apparently. Okay. I thought I saw a different actor that I was not expecting on that slideshow. But anyway, it's just like Married with Children wouldn't necessarily be able to be made today in the same way it was back in the 90s. There's talk of they're bringing that show back in an animated form, but then the rules change with animation, and the rules change. Still, it will not be the same show, even if they get all the voice actors back. So, in this situation, I can't imagine that they keep going on with I'm a, 6-year-old slut's funny, I don't know. So and the second episode deals with. Thankfully, when I watched the second episode, I showed that yes, while there was certain elements that touched on the daughters, it was mainly about Paul, the dad, trying to watch a college football game. They're in Michigan, by the way, trying to watch a Wolverines game, and while raising the kids. I mean, the crux of the show is the fact that mom goes back to work at the hospital, and dad is left raising the teenagers in his home between writing articles for the local newspaper, which apparently he can work from home most of the time. So when they're not at school, he's got to be there with them, and that comedy. So that makes comedy. So when he wants a little bit of time to himself so he can watch the football game. Kaylee Cuoco gets accused of shoplifting, and the other sister is having a problem with the local circus coming to town and torturing animals, and the son wants to play video games on the TV that dad wants to watch football on, while mom is trying to speak at a special college event thing. I wasn't paying attention. I'm not married to her. So, but either way, it's all sorts of conflict and comedy from that. But thankfully they didn't do two in a row where it's just like, hey, my teenage daughter's out of control. She's crazy hot. Everybody knows it, even my adult friends. And now we get jokes. I don't know. I mean, I can imagine, I think I might want to watch the Goodbye episodes. It's a two-parter. And also, by the way, the second season, the very end, is a two-parter as well, but the first part is called... It says it's part 2 of 2, but then part 2 is also part 2. It's confusing. Either way, it's the end of the show. It lasted less than 2 seasons, so it was a short season. But yeah. Anyway, it's highly acclaimed. So if you like these actors and you want a comedy, an early aughts TV series that you haven't seen yet, maybe, or you want to revisit it because you grew up with it, well, here you go. And deal with the loss of John Ritter all over again. So, let's pick tomorrow's episode.
29.
19 to 29. I don't have to scroll far for that. Okay. It's a series again. By the way, we did 4 days in a row, which is like movie, short, documentary, and series. So we had a sampler there. So that's kind of neat. But we got another series back to back with this one, and I think it's animated. I'm pretty sure, but something tells me that it's shorts. We'll find out. It doesn't really matter. Why am I bothering now? It's already 16 minutes into this. Let's just show you what it is. It's Alice's Wonderland Bakery. So, yeah. Part of me thinks it's a cooking show, but I don't know. And that would fall into the reality show color code. We'll find out. Alice's Wonderland Bakery tomorrow on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that. Bye.